Dovan, Chairperson, Co-Chairperson Ms. Shobna Joshi, Dr. Tyagi, Ms. M. R. Bhavnani, and everybody else. So today is a great day for SAMDES, and we have all gathered here to sign off on a very important document that will set the tone not only for the institutional arrangements between ICFAI and SAMDES, but in times to come can be a lighthouse for many of the initiatives that the government will take based on the thoughtful inputs from the extremely talented at ICFAI and whatever resources that SAMDES can bring in from a policy perspective to design policies and interventions that the government can adopt towards energizing our Indian defense and maritime and military matters. With these few words, I now request Dr. Mundu Vijay, the Vice Chancellor of ICFI University, to kindly say a few words, and then we will move to the next part of the.
Good afternoon to all the committee members of SAMDES. I think it's a great day for both the institutions for signing the MoU for to take further the association between ICFAI University and SAMDES. As we were having in the last webinar where we have talked a lot of things now, and in that I was telling very clearly this association should be an executable, and we will see to that. We will initiate whatever the SAMDES and if I take forward. The last time suggestion was there from the chairman that first I think we should take this proposal to the MEA. Then the ICFAI is ready to make a preliminary survey. What we have decided that, like Sujit was telling, that we should have a documentation of over 60 pages about this project and do the sample survey. I think that is the initiative which we will take it. Other than that, what we can do, we can also have the interaction with you people, with the students, with the faculty, and we can start with that as one of the webinar of the important topic, whichever it is. And for this project, I'm very, we will be one point contact that Mr. Amit Das will be the coordinator for this project. All the associations, whichever they tell you there, he will be the one point contact from the SAMDES and the ICFAI, wherein myself and the registrar will be coordinating with him and will be giving the approvals, whichever it is there. And with this, again, once again, both of us, it's a congratulations that we will take forward this and make it one of the best.
Thank you, Dr. Mundu Vijay, sir, for your excellent opening remarks. Now it's my pleasant duty to invite Admiral Dovan, our co-chair person of SAMDES, to say a few words before we go to the ceremony proper of signing the MoU, and invite the suggestions of our founder members and other faculty members if they have to say any things for it. Admiral Dovan, sir.
Thank you, Sujit. Good afternoon, Dr. Vinay Madhu and other members from ICFAI who are present, my colleagues from SAMDES and other ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed a great day today, and it is my privilege to share my thoughts with all of you. And we could not have found a better day to sign an MoU between our two great organizations, the ICFAI and SAMDES. Today happens to be the World Maritime Day, and somebody who has spent nearly 45 years in uniform, the white uniform, and spending life at sea, I think it is something that I'm very closely associated with. So it is indeed historic that we have decided to sign off an MoU between our two organizations on this day. I consider the ICFAI to be a powerhouse of knowledge and all the expertise and professionalism that the organization brings along. In terms of your expertise, particularly in the field of information technology, artificial intelligence, and other areas which would be of great interest to SAMDES. SAMDES by itself is a relatively new organization, but we punch well above our weight. We are a very small organization, but we punch well above our weight because we bring along with us the experience of many, many decades. Actually, Sujit was telling me the other day that just within our founder members, we probably have a few centuries of experience. And I would say that not only is there these years and years and decades of experience, it is the spectrum of experience that our founder members have. It is not just limited to the armed forces alone, the Army, Navy, and Air Force, which bring in the defense perspective, but also from the civil services in terms of the MOD finance. As you know, we have uh, Ms. Shobna Joshi, the former Secretary Defense Finance with us. We have on our membership, of course, Dr. Tyagi, which brings along the industry perspective. But we have tried to enroll in our membership the esteemed and distinguished members from different walks and experiences from former ambassadors, from former chiefs who are our mentors, scientists, industrialists, both public and private. And we have gone across the spectrum in terms of the land systems, the aerospace systems, our own founder members in terms of Air Marshal Bhavnani um, and the Lieutenant General we have bring along a great variety of experience of the armed forces itself. So what SAMDeS brings along is a great amount of experience, and it is our intention to actually to lean on the initiative that we hope to take along with ICFAI in terms of the joint studies, to have webinars and conferences. We did identify digital diplomacy as one of the areas in which we could go forward, but there is a vast spectrum of initiatives and areas where we could work together. Because one of the aims of SAMDeS is actually to look into the in assisting what we call developing and sustaining an indigenous defense ecosystem, which brings to the fore the vision of the Honorable Prime Minister of Atmanirbhar Bharat. And if we are to actually have Atmanirbharta and Swadeshikaran, or self-reliance and indigenization in the defense sector, then certainly we need a fair amount of innovation, fair amount of interaction that SAMDeS will have to do with organizations such as the ICFAI to come up with meaningful papers, meaningful suggestions and recommendations that can be taken up with the government at the appropriate level. My suggestion for the organization or both the organizations is that we may share what I would like to call a plan, an action plan of implementation, at least over the next 1 year. Because certainly SAMDES's resources are limited, and while ICFAI has fair amount of resources, we would do well to channelize our resources and work together with a coordinated and integrated approach. And that can only be achieved if we have a plan. So, what is it that we would like to do together? So, as we have said, that we would like to take this initiative of digital diplomacy forward. So, we would like to put it down in terms of timeline that over the next few months, this is what we will do. In addition, what would we like to do together? So, is it conduct of certain webinars? Is it certain of the training sessions that we can have with the expertise that SAMDES brings along? Could we also do some joint studies or studies that are done by ICFI? And therefore, we need to clearly lay down the way ahead, or at least a 1 year plan, which can then transform into a longer period plan. So this would be my suggestion. Once again, it is indeed a great privilege and honor for me to chair and co-chair this session. along with Dr. Vinay Modu, the Vice Chancellor of ICFAI. And I would actually like to congratulate teams on both sides on this great historic occasion when we are going to be signing this together. Uh, our founder members are here from SAMDeS. We've been introduced to most of them. I'm not sure whether Lieutenant General Lamba is here with us, but he's also our founder member, who was the earlier Vice Chief of the Army, and the rest you've already met. So all the very best. And with that, I would like to hand over back to Sujit to take the proceedings forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. And I think we have got an agenda to work on, and that's very good. And I think we'll stand by both the teams on both sides. Will abide by what the chair and co-chair of this particular session today have taken up to as our task. Now we come to the present duty of signing off on the MoU. So a very few brief words about the MoU so that we understand what we are intending to do. And I think the areas of cooperation have been very extensively covered, and it's very cleverly worded because it does not stop at a particular finite level, but it opens up many possibilities of working together in in achieving the goals that India has set for itself, particularly in the development of the entire ecosystem of the aerospace, maritime, military, and defense network, which has now become a very vital part of India's growth story. Not only in terms of building military capabilities, but the downstream impacts that it will have on livelihoods, on jobs, on building of the Indian economy, on the technologies that we'll bring in, and more than that, I think where ICFAI and SAMDES would be able to work structures around is on new models of financing, of using various resources of the Exim Bank, for example, in pushing defense exports, designing lease models for adoption by the armed forces as an alternative to forced modernization. Many of these things. So very briefly, the MoU states that the areas of collaboration is in terms of conducting joint research and development projects. Uh, a mention has been already made about digital diplomacy, and this is going to be the first flagship project for the cooperation between our two institutions. Then there is also a program for cooperation in individual projects. Now, this is a very important point where we will not only be able to interact institutionally, but we will also be able to interact individually and with the support of both institutions. This is a very, very important idea where the resources of both sides can be combined together in developing strategies and projects for the rapid development of our country. A fourth area of cooperation is, and I think this is a very important point, is on organization of lectures, symposia, international conferences, webinars, and workshops. So amongst the plan of implementation for 1 year, I think we should set ourselves a couple of tasks of holding at least one annual conference of world class standards between our two institutions, which we can really pitch it at a high level with the highest political establishment, the relevant ministers, or the appropriate people from the government to join in some thought leadership projects which will improve the systems in our country and improve the livelihoods of our people. So we should try and do some of them. Let's put some thoughts together, and over the next month or so, I will put down a certain proposals on cooperations that we can do in terms of international conferences, webinars, and workshops, and then it can be put up to the chair and co-chair of this interaction to approve them. The next item is, of course, our exchange of information, and as and when we conduct various seminars, information, and other workshops, we will share the distilled wisdom of those outcomes with you, and we expect that we will also get the same resource back from you. We'll also exchange research materials, technology and research data sharing, which is a very important and vital aspect of the MoU. And there are two other things which are very important. Search for opportunities to collaborate. I think this is a very nice statement that has been put there, which behoves on all our founder members and your committee members at ICFI, your governing council, to identify projects that we can collaborate. So it need not be restricted to the uh, to uh, to the working level to identify projects, but the leadership on both sides can provide us direction to work on projects which are of national importance, which will finally do good for our country. And I think that's a very important part of the MOU charter of cooperation. There is also the final point about interdisciplinary research. And I think this is also of great importance because as a university, you have various the departments under your control, whether they are from finance, whether they are from legal, whether they are artificial intelligence, whether there is other aspects of governance, all of that can be combined together as a huge resource base, combined with what SAMDES has got in terms of the wealth of experience that we bring in from the armed forces, the civil services, diplomacy, industry. I think this has a great potential to carry out interdisciplinary research, which is something that our country at the moment is not, let us say, fully equipped with. And and I would feel that though that is the last agenda point of the memorandum of understanding between our two institutions, I think interdisciplinary research will be one of the most important uh, points that we can carry out because that is something that will take us out of our silos and provide a very harmonized, integrative, coordinated approach to problem solving. So with these things, it's now my pleasant duty to invite uh, Brigadier Rajiv Sethi to kindly, on behalf of ICFI as the registrar, to sign the document. And you could show the document like this after you signed it. Then I will sign it, and then we can both say we have signed this document. And subsequently, we'll ask for some comments and observations from our other members who are in this short ceremony. Brigadier Sethi, sir, please.
Thanks very much. And here goes, sir.
So I guess it's my turn to sign on behalf of SAMDES. So here. So our done is done. And before we end the session, if there are any, if any of your team ICFI our collaborative teams, would, if anybody from your side would like to say a few words, that would be nice. And then after that, we'll request some of our founder members to say a few words before we request Brigadier Sethi to deliver the vote of thanks.
So thank you very much. In fact, the esteemed members of the SAMDES are, and the amount of experience you carry, I'm sure we'll all benefit from your experience, and we'll be able to collaborate and provide the, because we do have a certain amount of knowledge base within the faculty, etc., and we'll be able to provide the intellectual capital that will be needed to work out on any particular thing, sir. That's all from our end, sir. May we have your views?
From SAMDES, sir, may I go first to Air Marshal Bhavnani, sir, if you would like to say a few words on this occasion, sir.
Well, thank you, and to the all the members of ICFI, let me say compliments to you and congratulations for having given us this opportunity to SAMDES. I know that the chairman at SAMDES has been always very keen that we collaborate with institutions, and your institution in particular. We noticed when we had the last webinar has so much of potential in terms of, like you said, intellectual capacity, that for that we would be gaining quite a bit in the years to come with this collaboration. And from both sides, I think this is a very bold step, a very forward-looking step. And we will look forward to the opportunities to work together and to bring out papers, bring out ideas and various understandings. And I think there is a lot of scope, a lot of potential. So thank you to all the team at ICFI and to the chairman for having done this excellent coordination and collaboration.
Thank you very much, sir. Now, we request Dr. Tyagi, who's also a founder member, and erstwhile has been CMD of HAL, as Air Marshal Bhavnani, I forgot to mention, was our Vice Chief of the Air Staff and also the first Strategic Forces Commander of the Indian Institute. That's a huge amount of experience that comes in. May I now request Dr. Tyagi, our former Chairman HAL and former President Aeronautical Society of India and founder member of SAMDeS, to kindly say a few words.
Thank you, Sujit. In fact, first thing which I appreciate about this MoU is the speed of both leaderships. I remember just few days back, it was a very impressive presentation by Professor Amit Das. And I remember that time I also suggested that let us now go for a further brainstorming session and then we'll take it forward. But I remember what Admiral Dovan Saab that time said. He said, "Abhi sabse pehle speed maintain karni hai." So in fact, the very fact that within few days we have been able to formalize this MoU, it speaks the great speed of President SAMDeS, Chairman SAMDeS, and also Dr. Mudu, the head of ICFAI. It's a great speed, and I wish that we had more people in India who can decide and take the things forward at such a great pace. And I'm sure both organizations have tremendous capabilities. And we take forward, and especially in the emerging time, digital diplomacy is a very, very important area. In fact, everything revolves around that. So I am sure that we, both organizations together, will be able to bring on a lot of value creation for our country, and a lot of good things and schemes will come out of it. So on this occasion, I'd like to compliment both leaderships, both organizations, and also efforts of Sujit in bringing all these things together. Thank you very much, and my best wishes. Great, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Very much.
Now you're audible.
Right. Thank you so much. May I now request Ms. Shobna Joshi, who is also a founder member and co-chairperson of SAMDeS, to say a few words by way of a short introduction. Most of you already know of her. She was our former Secretary of Defense Finance, and during her stewardship on that vital job, introduced a large number of very proactive steps towards creating the national aerospace and defense ecosystem. May I now request our co-chairperson, Ms. Shobna Joshi, to kindly say a few words.
Thank you, Sujit. Chancellor ICFAI, Admiral Dhawan, and friends from both ICFI and my founder members. It is indeed a very great occasion today that, this is our first MoU of SAMDeS with an organization of such a high repute. So it is certainly, and the commitment of the leadership, both sides, it was pretty evident from their speeches. So I'm sure the next steps will take place with equal speed and determination, that we have to make a success of this collaboration. To what has already been said, I'll just add that for a long time, academic research and government have been functioning on literally two parallel tracks. They don't meet. The research is being done with no linkage to what the government wants, and the government really doesn't even have time to look at research and see how it can help in the decision making. And with our experience, we have realized that this has been a major lacuna in decision making, and sometimes the lack of such interaction has resulted in a kind of ad hocism. So we thought this kind of organization, that was one of these thinking or the concepts which was really behind the setting up of SAMDeS. And the next step after setting it up is to have collaborations with institutions of repute and bring out good studies, reports which are relevant and which can be used by government in enhancing the quality of decision making. So I'm sure this will be a landmark approach, and I'm sure it will be a success. I again congratulate both sides and wish all success for this partnership. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Joshi, for that, for those remarks. And now I now turn to ICFAI Brigadier Rajiv Sethi to kindly deliver the vote of thanks.
Admiral Dhawan and the esteemed members of the SAMDES, firstly, we are grateful that you could take time out and be present here for signing of the MoU. I guess one of the best things that has happened is that you have all been able to take a certain amount of interest in the matter, that there is a certain, like as the ma'am said, that we actually, the academic side is considered to be a parallel track which doesn't ever meet the executive side. So this particular thing is probably going to be of significance if both the sides are going to be meeting and we are able to produce the kind of goods that are required by the SAMDES. So we are grateful to you to have chosen ICFAI University as the vehicle for providing the intellectual capital to the system. On the other side, I must give compliments to the Vice Chancellor, who has very willingly and he wants to make sure that we do work towards making sure that the dream of the collaboration between the two organizations works out. And to that extent, I would also say that a major amount of credit goes to Professor Das, who has worked tirelessly to make sure that things start moving in that particular direction. So in the end, I am grateful to both sides actually for making sure that this particular thing has started moving into a particular direction in which probably it is going to be not only of relevance to both the organizations but to the nation as such. Thank you.
This brings us to the end of today's short ceremony. And unless there are any last words from anybody else, though the vote of thanks has been sounded, I think we could perhaps conclude here. And thank you everybody for joining this session at such short notice and your participation therein. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Congratulations. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well done, Sujit.
Thank you.
Very, very nicely coordinated.
Well done, Sujit. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.